Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Zoom. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Mary.
Good morning,
Hey,
Linda and
Linda.
Mary.
Good morning, Linda and Kathy.
And good morning to all of you. I feel
Good
like
morning, John Boy.
there was a show when I was a kid called Romper Room. That sound familiar to you?
I love Trapper Room.
I thought maybe it was just a local thing. I don't know, but she had a magic mirror at the end, and she would say, "Are all my friends?" Or I forget what it was.
And she'd say, "Oh, hi, so-and-so, and happy birthday, so-and-so." Remember that?
I was always waiting for her to say my name and never got it. But anyway, good morning to all of you who shall remain nameless, because we could take up the whole show trying to come up with everybody's names. But so before we get into today's topic, what's in your diffuser? You picked a good one today, didn't you, Kath?
I just put the blend Believe in there. So it already has the oils in it. And I just put in like 5 drops behind me right there in my diffuser. And I think the reason why I chose Believe is because we're talking about diets today, of course. So when you get into doing a diet program or a healthy eating program, whichever you want to call it, you have to believe in it in order to stick with it too. That at the end of this, if you have an end date or a pound end date or whatever you want to call it, you have to believe in it, right? Believe in yourself that you can get through it.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
that's my reasoning for Believe today.
I have lemon and peppermint today because I've had sinus issues all week, and I figured the lemon and the peppermint would help do its thing in the sinuses and also give me a little energy and a little focus today. Because I'm not focused. My husband is away and I don't have any structure in my life this week. Not that he gives me structure, but when somebody else is there and it's like, oh, we should eat at a certain time or whatever. Although my dad's still coming over for dinner, so I'm not alone. But yeah, I'm gonna be focused here and while I talk to all of you today. Mary?
Cinnamon and orange, but I didn't turn it on yet because I just walked in the door.
So you've been out all
I think that cinnamon and orange would also curb your appetite. I don't know why. It just because it has that scent, you can almost taste the orange and the cinnamon when you diffuse it, because I've used that before.
I think cinnamon is an appetite suppressant
Depressant or whatever.
So
Yeah.
I have a formula for like a little capsule with oils, and I think both of those are in it. And grapefruit.
And I just use the spiced cinnamon in my coffee. I just kind of I like the flavor.
Yeah. I'm a purist. I just put regular cream, no sugar. So okay. So who's been on a diet? Raise your hand. You never been on a diet, Mary?
Oh, never. I've been on a million of them. I've probably lost 1,000 pounds.
Okay,
and then gained it back.
I said whoever. Who has ever been on, not never. Sorry. I probably stumbled. So you've been on a million of them. So you've tried a bunch and you've thrown them out. Or did they work? Did they work?
They worked. I was on Weight Watchers for a long time. They worked. Then I was on this nutritionist diet, which worked. It was the weirdest diet, but it worked. She told you what to eat. She gave you choices of 3 or 4 things for 6 days a week, and you could eat whatever you wanted on day 7, as much as you wanted. And that was good to me because then I could be on a diet for 6 days and I could have my potato chips. And I lost about 50 pounds.
Wow, that's great.
Now, here's the question. Did you keep it off?
No, that's my problem. I get off the diets for whatever silly reason, and I just go back to eating whatever I want.
Well,
Yeah, I was going to ask, I was going to basically ask the same question. Is that a sustainable diet? Like a healthy eating plan,
Mm,
you know, just to stay on?
probably not, because, and then with Weight Watchers, I hated counting the points and counting this and all of that. And it was like a pain in the neck. And so I've been on that 3 or 4 times and it's worked, but then I get so tired of counting things. So,
yeah, there is a site, I'm not sure how you find it, but I think any diet you want to look at least the more popular ones, WebMD has, I think it's WebMD. There's one that rates the diets and they talk about what you have to do and also how hard is it to stay on the diet, you know, so it might be, you know, hard, medium, easy, or whatever. And so that's always a good way to factor in what you might be starting, like how easy is it going to be to start with, you know, to start and maintain this. But I've been on loads of diets in my lifetime, and some of them have worked really well, but diets themselves are not sustainable. So you can, you know, it depends on why you're on the diet. So if you're on a diet because, oh, you creeped up 10 pounds and you want to lose those 10 pounds, a diet might be a good thing to do in the short term. But I think to lose the weight and keep it off, it's going to need something else. But before we get into that, because we are, what we did was we brainstormed all the different diets that are out there. And some of them we have personal experience with, some we don't, but we kind of just have an overview of diets for you today. And then we'll have a discussion about what works, what was effective, what did people like, that sort of thing. So Kathy, you want to start us off with
Well, Mary brought up Weight Watchers,
the most famous one, right?
Right. And it's been around since the 1960s. And it was founded by, and I always thought, you know, because they had Florine Mark on all the things, I thought she was the one that founded it. But unless she just has that as her like stage name, somebody named Jean Nidetch founded it, which Weight Watchers now is called WW. And it's focused on healthy living and improving, you know, your overall well-being. So they're trying to have people make better choices now. So it's still doing the point system. It's called WW Smart Point System. And again, it assigns different points for the different foods dependent on the, based on the nutrition and of the food. That's how they're assigning the points to it. And when I did it 25, 30 years ago, whatever, it at that time, and I'm not sure about now, but I'm pretty sure it probably does the same thing. Depending on your starting weight, you know, you get so many points per day. So if you choose, which they still allow you to eat anything, but if you choose to eat an ice cream sundae, they may take up about half your points for your day. So you have to, I think it's driving you more to, and they're talking about it more, that you have to select healthier things so you feel fuller throughout the day. You can eat throughout the day. So that's it for right now with Weight Watchers. And if anyone has anything to say or add to the comments, please do so. Jenny Craig was another one of those quick diet type things but with Jenny Craig, what they do is they have pre-packaged foods, and the meals are designed to restore your metabolism and accelerate your weight loss. Jenny Craig's been around since 1983, and it's an all-inclusive meal plan where you get your breakfast, lunch, dinner. You get something called a recharge bar. So if you're kind of have that slump in the afternoon, you can eat that. And plus you're allowed to pick some snacks of, your own fresh fruit or veggies to eat along with that throughout the day.
All right, then one that you probably have seen on TV a lot is Noom. And Noom touts a psychology method of weight loss. So it uses an app, and unfortunately, I actually use this. I think I started January of 2020. And it was very helpful. I really liked it. So it uses an app. So it's on your phone or your iPad, and it uses a psychology-based approach. So it's a comprehensive wellness plan with food, exercise, and mental health aspects built in. And the idea is to change your behaviors so that you not only take off the weight, but you're able to maintain your weight loss long term, which I think is the missing factor for so many. So some of the things that they talked about was getting into why are you eating? Are you hungry? Really getting in touch with your feelings, like why it's not eating out of boredom or stress or anything like that, but paying attention to what you're eating and how much you're eating. And then there were nutritional aspects of it too. I found it was like a medium to hard, but some parts were easy. It's a whole different philosophy. So I felt like they were preaching to the choir a lot of times. Like I knew a lot of the psychology, so a lot of that didn't help me as much, but sometimes it did. And I actually remember taking pictures of some of their advice, and they would be a little, not a blog, but a little article, short article to read some days. And some of the advice in there was really pretty helpful. But they also give you a coach and they check in with you. So it's all through texting. Now, that was one of the reasons that I stopped, because in case you haven't noticed, I'm verbose. I like to talk a lot, and I like to talk a lot with my fingers too, but I don't like to text. I don't like to type, So if I could text on my computer, which I do with Messenger because I have a Mac computer, I'll text all day long and send you big, long, it should be emails, right? But there was no way to do that. So I just got tired of the texting back and forth with this person. And I really felt like the coach was going through the motions, like here's my script and what I'm supposed to say. And she did interact with me a little bit, that you could tell it was more on a personal level. It could have been my fault. I think you get out of it what you put into it. And I lost some weight right off the bat, but then I got lazy about it. So again, diets don't work if you quit them. The next one I researched was Medifast, and that's a meal replacement program for weight loss. And they ship prepackaged meals and ready-to-eat snacks to your home. They're designed to help you reduce calorie intake. That's about all I got on that one. So I just heard that one on, you hear so many. We watch Fox News. Sorry if that offends anybody, but there are so many ads for weight loss and medication. Like that's all there is. So I know all of them now.
Every other commercial.
Yep.
Okay, the next one is called Diet to Go, and that's basically just what it is. It's a delivery service that provides balanced and freshly prepared foods. So with that, it measures, or its menus are calorie controlled and nutritionally balanced. Those are the two main things with this. But the company does offer 4 different types of meal plans. One's called Balance. There's a Balanced Diabetic, so they take that into consideration when preparing the foods for people as well. There's a Keto Carb 30 and a vegetarian option. So that's kind of nice that they have that. And, they have foods like, chickens included, seafood, vegetables, and grains. And
Is
that's
that
been
a-
around since
Do they mail
1991.
it? I'm sorry to interrupt. Do they mail it to you or do you pick it up or is it,
Let's,
seems like it's probably like a Jenny Craig or
yeah, it's like one of those, I believe that,
Medifast.
yeah. Because if it was something that, it would be more like packaged for frozen, but if these are fresh, you probably have to pick it up, or maybe they deliver once a week at the most, I would think, if they do deliver. I
Right.
didn't find that out though, sorry.
Yeah, and that's like any of those meal plans that when you're making meals and they're not related to diets, but they all come fresh. I mean,
Right.
the purple carrot gets mailed from Chicago, so
Oh, do you get that once a week?
once
When,
a week.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They
Well,
can't
for
really
when I
package
want it.
fresh for a month,
Yeah, for that one, I order it when I want it. Like we were supposed to get one this Wednesday, and I was like, Dick, you're not even gonna be home. I'm not gonna cook that stuff. So um those programs you can skip weeks and things like that. But anyway.
Okay, the next one is Nutrasystems. And I didn't realize this till I looked it up. It actually started in 1972 as a liquid protein diet.
Hmm.
Mm.
So it was strictly kind of like, it kind of phased out the liquid protein when Slim Fast became really popular. But so that was like in the late 70s when Slim Fast became popular because it was just too much competition for them. So they went to having high quality prepared meals that taste great. Now that's a direct thing from their site.
You're gonna say
Like,
that.
okay, I did do Nutrasystems and it did work because it's based on, the right mix of protein, carbs, and fats. You will learn to lose weight or to learn to eat a little healthier, but maybe that's all I should say about it. So,
The next one on the list I hadn't really heard of, but as I said, we did a brainstorm list and we looked and found these. This one's called Volumetrics. And the idea behind Volumetrics is it's an eating plan for weight loss that has you fill up on low calorie, nutrient dense foods, but usually foods with a high water content. And so they're bulkier. So you think about your lettuce, how much lettuce can one person eat? You could eat 2-3 cups of it and you're only going to get a few calories from that. But lettuce, especially like green leafy greens, are going to give you a lot more nutrition. So it's a way to kind of fill you up with this bulk food that's water based but low calorie. That's basically what it is. And then the last one I did in this little section, which I don't know what we called this section. What did we call this section? This section was diet program.
diet programs.
Is any kind of meal replacement system or like Slim Fast. So with the Slim Fast plan nowadays, it used to be just the shakes. It's a little bit different. They've looked at the nutrition, I think, a little bit better, but you eat or drink or 2 Slim Fast meal replacements, 3 100-calorie snacks, and 1 500-calorie meal that you plan and provide yourself. So with that plan, you're eating 6 times a day. So 2 meal replacements, which I think are the shakes, but they have a whole variety of products now. And then 3 of the 100-calorie snacks, and then your 500-calorie meal, which is probably your lunch or dinner, however you want to arrange it. It says you can safely lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. And they offer also Slim Fast Advanced Nutrition that provides high protein meal replacement shakes or smoothies with less sugar than many other brands. That was a quote from their website. So those are, the meal replacement. I'll wait until later to talk about that one. I think we have the same thing to say about it, Kath. All right, so then I have the category, the sensational category, and not sensational in like, wow, that's fantastic, but people have, they've become a sensation. They become very popular nowadays. And so the first one on that list is keto. So ketogenic is a term for low carb diet, like the Atkins diet. The idea is for you to get more calories from protein and fat and less from carbohydrates. And you cut back on most of the carbs that are easy to digest, the ones with the simple sugars, simple carbohydrates, sugar, soda, pastries, white bread. Your body doesn't have enough sugar to burn. So then it starts burning the fat in order to have energy. And when it starts burning fat instead of the sugar, then you're in ketosis. That one, I don't believe anybody should be on that one long-term, because first of all, it's difficult to sustain that way of eating. And it cuts out so many very nutritious foods.
Yeah.
And also the big drawback there, or the big pitfall, I should say, is that sometimes people don't pick the healthy fats and they get into the unhealthy fats, which is what I did. I was eating bacon and using coconut oil and butter like crazy because I was like, oh, it's fat, I'm okay. But my cholesterol went through the roof, so that would be like something that would kill me eventually if I ate like that with the bad fats. But if you're choosing good fats, you can do it safely. But again, I don't think it's a long-term thing. Okay, the zone diet. I have seen this, but I didn't really know anything about it, or if I have, I forgot about it. It's been that long. The zone diet, every meal on the zone has the same proportions, and they go with 30% protein, 30% fat, 40% carbs. Calories do count. Women get 1,200 a day, and for men, it's 1,500. So to me, 1,200 calories is starving yourself. I like it much better when we talked a few weeks ago about figuring out how many calories you need to sustain your weight at your current weight, and then you decrease that by 20%. And I've done that, and it's more than 1,200 calories. And the app that I'm using for weight loss right now, I'm doing it all myself, but I'm using the MyFitnessPal. And when I plug in my exercise, it gives me more calories. I like that. It's incentive to exercise.
The app, Linda, or?
It's an app, but you can do it on the computer or you can do it on your phone or whatever. So I do
a free
both.
app, or do you pay for that app?
Nope. I think there's a trial. I did pay for it.
I'm not sure. Okay.
I did pay for it, but I can't remember how much it was.
In case anyone's interested.
It was, I want to say, in the area of $50 for a year. I think. I don't know. I'll find out before the end. When you start talking, I'll go start looking. And so as part of the zone diet, carbs should have a low glycemic index. And we talked about that a few weeks ago when we talked about carbs. So being low on the glycemic index, which means they provide a slow release of sugar into the blood to keep you feeling fuller longer. And the zone diet, which I didn't know, was actually devised to help people control their diabetes. So there.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. What am I looking up? Oh, MyFitnessPal, right?
Your app. Okay, the next one is the South Beach diet, which started in the early 90s. Okay, and right now, today, I don't know what it was back then, but right now what they have is it consists of 3 different phases. So the first phase is the low carb phase for rapid weight loss, and it helps to eliminate cravings for sugary foods and refined starches by stabilizing your blood sugar levels. Phase 2, all foods from phase 1 are allowed. plus limited portions of fruit and good carbs, such as whole grains and certain types of alcohol. This is less restrictive, a less restrictive phase for more gradual weight loss to take you to your goal weight. So you start out with that, you know, lose weight rapidly, then it kind of slows down your progression of weight loss, but then that's keeping you on a more even-keeled track, I believe. And although phase 2 guides you, you should be, wait a minute, I'm sorry, lost my train of thought here. Okay, so in this stage, although the phase 2 guidelines should be the basis of your lifestyle, occasional treats are allowed. And no foods are truly off limits. So you kind of have to watch what you're doing with that and keep track of that on your own. And then phase 3 is when you incorporate fitness into the program to go along with your diet phases. So that's the South Beach diet. The Atkins diet sounds similar to one of the other diets we already talked about. It's a low carb diet, and it's usually recommended for weight loss. So people claim that you can lose weight while eating as much protein and fat as you want, as long as you avoid foods high in carbs. In the past 12 or so years, there's been over 20 studies to show that low carb diets without the need of calorie counting are effective for weight loss. Sorry about that.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know what's ringing at my house.
Yeah. So there's, you know, you can get various health improvements from the weight loss that you experience with this diet. And the Atkins diet, like I said, originally started in 1972, the early 70s by Dr. Robert Atkins.
All right. Fit for Life. I'm not sure that this is a thing anymore. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I did Fit for Life probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And it was really effective. Both Dick and I did it, and it was very effective. And I think there are some weird things about it, like theories that this doctor came up with, but it really was effective. And I think it was very similar to some of the plans nowadays. Like, it's kind of close to what I'm doing now in a way. So anyway, Fit for Life, there was a book called Fit for Life, and I think there was a book after that, but Fit for Life was created by Harold and Marilyn Diamond. I don't think that's Harold. Maybe I might have written that wrong. Anyway, the Diamond family there. And they started by only eating fruit in the morning, fresh and raw, and nothing else. And the idea of that is what was going on in your gut. And we hear a lot about gut health and keeping the biome healthy in your gut. So this was their theory, was that fruit gets processed by our body very, very quickly. So you eat that first and get it out of the way, get it out of the stomach before you eat something else. Their theory was all about food combining, so that you wouldn't eat certain foods with other certain foods, because they would ferment in the stomach and then cause, issues in the gut. And if that fermentation is happening in your stomach, then it gives rise to the destruction of valuable enzymes and nutrients. So you're not going to get as much out of your food. They also were proponents of eating live and high water content foods. So high water content is going to be low calorie foods. Live is your fresh foods. If you're eating animal protein, avoid combining it with complex carbohydrates. So you wouldn't be eating a steak and beans, okay? Because they fight, okay? They fight in the stomach for digestion, and then water dilutes stomach digestive juices. And so they say water should never be drunk while you're eating. Dairy products are considered of limited value because of their allergic capacity. And so there's all of these different like rules. But if you're eating fresh fruits and vegetables and not mixing your carbs and your proteins and not mixing your fruit in there, that was the basis of it. And it was sustainable for a while. And we found some great vegetarian type of recipes that we really loved. And we lost some weight, but we didn't stick with it as usual. Another popular plan is the Paleo Diet. And that's a dietary plan based on foods similar to what might have been eaten during the Paleolithic era, approximately 2.5 million to 10,000 years ago. And it typically includes lean meats, fish, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, things that could have been eaten by cavemen, hunters and gatherers type of thing. But it limits foods that became common when farming emerged. So about 10,000 years ago, we started farming. And so that would take out all of the wheat products, legumes, and grains. I don't know much more about the effectiveness. I know I had a friend who had to go on it for health reasons. The doctor put him on that. But I don't know if they're still on it. I haven't talked to them in a long time. So that's what paleo is all about, eating like a caveman.
Okay, so there is another type of diet, and you probably have heard about this in the past. This was created or started by a Dr. James Adamo right around 1996, and his son Peter. They're both naturopathic physicians, and it's called Eat Right for Your Type. And the type that they're speaking about is what your blood type is. So he claims that different blood types evolved at different points in our genetic history, and that your blood type should determine what you eat and how you exercise. So blood type diets are a system of eating which categorizes food as beneficial, neutral, or harmful for your blood type. So again, it's based on the person's blood type and other factors. And Dr. Adamo claims that foods that are harmful to your blood type can cause an agglutination reaction. And what that means is your blood cells get sticky. There's like coated with something sticky on. So that could increase your risk of different diseases. Who knew?
That is cool.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I don't know my blood type, so I can't do that. I've asked what's my blood type, and they don't even have a record of it at the doctor's office. And I'm like,
usually if you have to have a surgery or something, they will do that for you.
Well, I've had
show up, or even when your kids are born, they'll do a blood type on the mom and then on the baby as well.
Well,
So
I had to have a blood test, I think, before I got married.
right, but they won't type your blood for that. Yeah, they won't type your blood for that. It's usually for surgery situations when they automatically do it. In case you need blood during surgery, they have to have that available so you don't just bleed out if
I'll just have to go figure it out.
Something happens. Okay, and this is one that this next diet is one that I can remember probably from the, I don't know, I want to say the late 60s is when I first heard about it, but it's actually been around since the 1930s.
Wow.
It's the grapefruit diet, and it's also known as the Hollywood diet. So it is based on a belief that grapefruit contains fat melting enzymes or have similar fat burning properties, which make it a great thing for weight loss. So it's an extremely low carb diet, and the 10-day grapefruit diet has a very strict meal plan. which only delivers between 800 and 1,000 calories to the body per day. We thought the 1,200 was bad. I mean, 800 to 1,000, I think
Well,
that's way
if
too
we're
low.
talking Hollywood and Hollywood starlets, they only weigh 100 pounds anyway. They don't need as many calories. So maybe it's not as, if you're talking about those actress types that are all skin and bones, it's probably a lot easier for them to do that. But
Yeah, I think the only thing that I worry about, even with the Hollywood starlets, is that how much energy do you have, really? Are you packing in the caffeine or energy pills or something like that? But okay, that one kind of scares me.
yeah, but I'll tell you, there's something to that because
Right.
I don't know if it was when I was on Fit for Life or later when I was just trying to cut down. The easiest thing in the world, well, sort of easy, because grapefruit is never easy. Grapefruit is like, how do you eat the darn thing, right? Without making a mess. I lost weight when I would have first thing, my first meal of the day would be a grapefruit. And I could have something after that too, but half a grapefruit. And before I went to bed, like probably 9 o'clock or so, the other half of the grapefruit. And I do believe in those fat burning properties of grapefruit because I would drop weight like crazy. So
But you did not limit your calories to 800 to 1,000. Yeah.
no.
Whatever you were putting in was healthy calories, not, from white sugar type and bad carbs or whatever.
I think it's a very extreme diet and we know better now, but that's not to say that grapefruit isn't healthy for you and maybe does, provide that fat burning. I don't know, but
And I think somebody with diabetes would not be doing this diet. And it says 10-day grapefruit diet. So it doesn't mean it's sustainable for a long period of time.
absolutely not. We're going to get into some nutrition-based diets now, and they are they're based on certain nutrition pieces. So first is Mediterranean, and it's a way of eating that's based on the traditional cuisines of Greece, Italy, and other countries that border the Mediterranean, which is a lovely place to visit. They include plant-based foods such as whole grains, vegetables, legumes, fruits, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. There's nothing there not to love. Olive oil is the main source of added fat. Fish, seafood, dairy products, and poultry are included in moderation. So it's not like a daily thing. Red meat and sweets are eaten only on occasion. And the idea is that people in this area have very low rates of heart disease. And there's a whole school of thought that any oil is bad, but I guess if you're going to choose an oil, olive oil is probably the best. And and the way that they use them, and we talked about this when we talked about blue zones, is that they don't necessarily cook a lot with the oil, which kills any nutritional value at all, but they use it as like a salad dressing, or they put the oil on top of something that's already been cooked and prepared. So, but that's very much like the Whole Foods plant-based diet, except for Whole Foods plant-based gets rid of the meat. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The DASH diet. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension or High Blood Pressure. I had heard of it, but I didn't know that it was specifically like the zone is for diabetes, DASH is for hypertension. And it's a healthy eating plan designed to help treat or prevent high blood pressure. They includes foods that are rich in potassium, calcium, and magnesium. And these are the nutrients that help control blood pressure. And they limit foods that are high in sodium, saturated fat, and added sugars. And it's also very rich in vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. And it includes fat-free or low-fat dairy products, fish, poultry, beans, and nuts. It limits foods that are high in saturated fats like fatty meats and full-fat dairy products. So these were specifically developed, you know, for hypertension, which I think is cool.
Very cool. The next one on our list is the Mayo Clinic diet, and it's the official diet developed by the Mayo Clinic. Okay, it's based on research and clinical experience. It focuses on eating healthy foods that taste great, and also they have included, talks about increasing your physical activity as well. So to me, those two things go hand in hand. If you're going to eat healthy, you need to do some type of physical activity. So this sounds very promising. Okay, it emphasizes that the best way to keep weight off for good is to change your lifestyle. So it is a lifestyle diet and adopt new healthy habits. So the healthy habits are making better choices with your food and incorporating some type of exercise, whether it's walking or specific exercises that you're doing, just staying active.
Mhm. All right, that one sounds pretty good. Now, we can't talk about diets without talking about like a whole lifestyle change, because we understand, we talked already, diets don't work, or they work for the short term, but not for the long term. And in order to do that, you have to have a couple of things in place. And one is the idea, calories in, calories out. So if you are eating too many calories and you're watching TV and being a couch potato all the time and not getting that physical activity, those calories are coming in, but they're not coming out. So if you want to lose weight, calories in has to be less than calories out, so that you're more active or you're just eating less. And the other part about that, I forgot. There was two things I was going to say about that. Oh, well, forgot it. Went right out of my head. I didn't write it down. Calories in, calories out. Nope, don't have it. And so one thing that I've been trying is the whole foods plant-based diet. So it focuses on minimally processed foods. So anything that you get in a box with a nutritional label may be suspect. It doesn't mean we don't have any of that, but you want to read the labels like we talked about last week and make sure that it has the proper nutritional values and very few ingredients in order to find something that is minimally processed. I have these noodles that I have been using that are like, they're Wonder noodles, and a serving is only 10 calories. For me, that's a game changer because I love my pasta, and this is a way to have pasta easily. You get the taste of the pasta with your sauce or whatever you want, but you're not eating, the heavy carbs. So this, I'm just like a mess here today. Minimally processed foods, specifically plants, and it's effective at stimulating weight loss and improving your health. It emphasizes whole foods, limits or avoids animal products, and it's mostly just plants. I feel like I'm reading my notes. I feel like I wrote the same thing twice. Plants, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, seeds, nuts, which should be the majority of what you eat, and really excluding refined foods like anything with added sugars, white flours, processed oils. And it also pays attention to the food quality, opting for organic whenever you can. And it can be somewhat flexible, because when you call it whole foods, plant-based, that means there's room for other things in there, but really you want to focus on those fresh foods and fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes. And I think the pitfall here, because I think you guys joined that group about whole foods, plant-based on Facebook. And I see a lot of new people coming in here asking questions about, how about this? And they show a picture of like Beyond Burgers or something, processed foods like meat replacement. And while that's good for a transition, it's not good because it's processed and it's heavily processed. So just because you're not eating meat doesn't mean you're absolutely healthy. And I think that gets into veganism too. I think that's a main difference between them, is that Whole Foods is not looking for meal replacements or meat replacements rather. You want to talk about vegetarianism and all of that?
Vegetarianism, or being on a vegetarian eating plan or diet. I think the true thing with vegetarians is that they don't eat any animal products at all, or things that are from animals. You know, it might not be actually meat, but they don't really even eat the eggs. But there are different types of vegetarians and different degrees of what they are, different things that they will incorporate. So a avo vegetarian eats both egg and dairy products. So your eggs are coming from your chickens, your dairy products are coming from cows, which a true vegetarian would leave that off. But they say no to poultry, fish, red meat, and other animal products. A lacto-vegetarian abstains from eating eggs, meat, poultry, seafood, and fish, but they will eat dairy. Now, I always considered eggs dairy, but they're staying away from dairy as well. I mean, from eggs as well. An avo vegetarian includes eggs and egg products in their diet, but they don't eat dairy or other animal products such as seafood, fish, poultry, and meat. A pescatarian vegetarian.
That commercial lately that the girl goes, "Mom, Dad, I'm a pescatarian," and she walks away, and the dad goes,
What's that?
"Pescatarian," and the mom goes, "Oh, dude," you know, like I don't know why, like he was expected to know what that is, but it was pretty funny.
So a pescatarian eats, along with their regular vegetarian diet, will eat fish and eggs and dairy. So there's different varying degrees of things. Now, with a vegan diet, there are no animal products whatsoever. My husband and I did a raw vegan diet for a few years. But so there's no animal products whatsoever, no eggs, no dairy, no fish oils, no honey, no gelatin, collagen, or white sugar. That's with the standard vegan diet. Now with a raw vegan diet, we only consumed unprocessed plant foods, and the foods are not cooked above 115 degrees. So we did have a dehydrator to slightly warm our foods, but we didn't have anything put in the oven. We ate lots of nuts and different things like that for our protein, and legumes and other vegetables, but none of them were really cooked. So
that would be hard for me, I think. I would have a hard time with that. Flexitarian is the next one. And I think this is what I am, because while I've been trying whole foods plant-based, we put the word predominantly in front of that, but really it's what a flexitarian is, which means that you go meatless most of the time, and you eat a lot less meat than you used to, but you don't give it up completely. They eat mostly vegetables, whole grains, fruit, and plant-based proteins. Nothing is off limits, but the goal is to add more plant foods to your diet while cutting back meat. So I think that's really where I'm at right now. And these are all things that we're considering a lifestyle plans. Like, this is not a diet. This is not something that I plan to go off of, because I think that's the reason that diets don't work, is because we go off of diets and then we go back to our old habits. The last one we're going to talk about is intermittent fasting. And there are different versions, but the general ideas for all of them is that you eat normally some days of the week and drastically reduce your calories on other days. Some plans encourage you to skip food entirely for 24 to 36 hours. And on others, it's like the every other day diet. You eat on one day, you don't eat on the next day. And then there is a 5-2 fast diet. You can have some food, but only get about 1/4 of your regular calories. And then there are versions when you fast for several hours, only eating between certain hours of the day, like from noon to 6 or noon to 8, or maybe more drastically from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., that you only give yourself a window to eat, once during the day. I've tried versions of that. I tried to not eat after 9 o'clock at night because I'm up till like midnight usually. So if I weren't, I would probably make that lower, but, and then I don't start to eat usually until about noon or later. Yesterday, I forgot to eat at all. I think I didn't eat until like 2:30, 3 o'clock. But it's technically not fasting if I have milk in my coffee. So
Mhm.
that's just one. Again, that's not something you can stay on interminably, right? And then we talked about Mediterranean being a nutrition based diet, but it's also a lifestyle plan. That's something that you can stay on long term. My fitness plan, boy, we had a lot more to cover than we thought, didn't we?
Mhm.
We were going to discuss this. We might have to talk about this next week, but I'm going to share the screen so I can show you my fitness plan. All right, so you can get a free trial for 1 month, and there is a free version of it. So you can see the different things. So it's both versions give you nutrition tracking. But then the premium version gives you, you can customize like what percentage of you want of carbs, protein, fat. It has different guided fitness and nutrition plans. You can customize your screen dashboard. They have food analysis, meals and recipes, ad-free experience. I always like that. You can subtract your exercise calories. So you plug in how much exercise you had and it helps you to figure out the calories there. And then it gives you more calories to eat. I like that part. And then you can quick add carbs, fat, and protein, logging your meals. You can export stuff. So all that's on the version. And that is $50. I was right. $50 a year or $10 a month, which is a lot more money when you think about it. But if you were only going to do it for a while, I have found it to be very, very helpful because it forces me to be aware of what I'm putting into my body. It forces me to count how many glasses of water, I'm putting everything in. And I track my exercise. So if I don't do exercise, I don't get extra calories. So I find that it's being very effective for me. Altogether on my whole foods plant-based diet that I started just after Mother's Day, I guess, I have lost 13 pounds and I have lost probably 4 of those in the last 2 weeks. So since I've started using the fitness plan. So I feel like I'm getting better results now that I'm tracking things because you lose track of what goes in your face unless you're thinking about it. I don't know about you, but I am a mindless eater. I'll be a little bit hungry and I'll go grab something. I'll get a slice of bread and I'll be like shoving that in my face. And then later I'll go get some chips. And if you're not paying attention and counting those, that's how they add up. And then all of a sudden, the scale goes back up. And then I think I shared this last week. Verywellfit.com has a nutrition analyzer. So you can put your ingredients in. So if you make something yourself and you're not sure about how many fat calories and all that, you put the recipe in and it will count it for you and give you a nutrition label. It's really cool. So we only have 3-4 minutes left, but what is true? What's common for every single diet?
They don't work.
They don't work.
They're not sustainable long term.
Yeah. We have a goal. We set the goal. We might stay on that diet until we reach that goal. But the minute we go off, we stop paying attention and we start, and we blow out of proportion. I mean, how many times have you been on a diet and you gain the weight back? Maybe not right away, but over time, because you went back to old habits. I think some of those diet plans that we looked at in the beginning are, if it seems like it's too good to be true, it is, right? It's not the eat me pill, drink me thing. We're not in Alice in Wonderland. She's totally fiction. So none of that, is really going to be helpful for you. And so how can you break the plan of yo-yo dieting? How can you break that pattern, the cycle?
You basically have to develop a lifelong habits of eating healthy, exercise, and just having an overall good attitude.
Yeah, and be kind to yourself.
Right.
I think that, first of all, meal delivery plans we don't like, as we were hinting, because a lot of times it's processed foods. It's not, you're not eating fresh whole foods. You have to be nice to yourself. You can't, anything that eliminates a whole food group or a whole, other than the meat thing, because I do believe
Right.
that animal products aren't good, but if it says don't ever eat any more lima beans, well, what's that all about, right? Or don't eat tomatoes. There's a whole diet based on not eating what's that?
Nightshades and
Nightshades,
tomatoes.
things
Yeah.
like that. It's like, that doesn't make sense to me, that to eliminate something that God grew for us to eat. So adopting, those lifelong habits, healthy foods, exercise, and not beating yourself up, because it's okay to, it's not even making mistakes. It's okay to have the cake. It is. You just can't have the cake every single day, right? And you have to be careful when you do get emotional or stressed or anxiety, that you don't reach for food as a comfort. Get in touch with your feelings and really analyze, stop. I'm not putting that donut in my face because I'm stressed. Let me figure out why I'm stressed and how I can alleviate that. But all of that. Mary, I know you have to go, but any words of wisdom from you? Anything you want to add to this conversation?
Well, if you have that piece of cake, even if you have two of them, you have to just forgive yourself, or maybe not forgive yourself, but you don't sit there and say, well, gee, I already had the cake, so might as well have some pretzels and some chips or something.
Right.
You just say, yeah, I already blew
in.
it, so I might as well keep blowing it. But you have to just say, I blew it, but what the hell? I'm going to start over or go back and,
Exactly.
It's like falling off the horse, you get back on again, right?
Yeah, you get
Right.
back on and right back on.
Yeah, that's good words of wisdom. I appreciate that.
Sure is.
Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, and I think it's even better if you plan when you're going to blow your diet. If you're just like, oh, when my husband comes home, I'm going to want to go out to dinner. And when we go to our favorite restaurant, they have that orange cake. And I'm not going to order orange cake and he have orange cake. We'll split it, because usually that's all you need.
Mhm.
You can eat the whole thing.
Takes that edge off the craving.
Yeah, it tastes
Yeah.
good enough to eat the whole thing or eat 2 or 3 pieces. But sometimes if you go slow, that's my problem. I eat way, way too fast. And then it's like, it's gone. And I'm like, wait, I didn't appreciate it while I was shoving it in my face. I gotta.
And an hour later, you feel it, because that's, if you're not eating slow, I've heard in the past and saw on the internet, whatever, it takes 20 minutes for your body to know, that you feel that fullness, that you feel full. So at least try to stretch your meal out over a 20-minute period of time, instead of just, like you said, inhaling. And when you eat it so fast, an hour later, you feel bloated. You feel like, oh my God, why did I do that? But so it's the point of just slow it down and give your body time to catch up with what you're
Yes.
eating.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know where we're going next week, but we
We
will
will be there.
keep talking about nutrition because I think it's really important. So thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ladies.
Have a great
Awesome
weekend.
job.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.